Here's the third concept that I want to share with you. We call it the marketing equation. As I said at the beginning, we believe marketing is more science than it is art, and it's a 4-step process. But before I can share the 4 steps, we have to do a little bit of psychology. I want to share a couple of psychology concepts with you. And these are the alpha state, the beta state, and the reticular activator. Most of us, according to psychologists, spend a great deal of our time in what they call alpha state. That is, we're working through our day, but we're doing a lot of different things that don't necessarily command our full attention. A good example would be when we're driving to work. We take the same route pretty much every morning. So as we get comfortable with that route, we just don't notice a lot of things. We know that we're going to turn up here on whatever that street's name is. We turn on it every day. So we're fiddling with the radio, we're drinking coffee, maybe we're even putting on our makeup, but we're in what psychologists call an alpha state. A beta state is when you're fully alert, you're actively concentrating on whatever the task at hand is. So again, to continue the car to work analogy, you're driving to work and all of a sudden you hear a siren. Well, immediately you jump into beta state. Is it an ambulance? Is it a fire truck? Is it in front of me? Is it behind me? What do I need to pull over? Where is it? You're fully engaged at the moment. You've forgotten about your coffee. Whatever's on the radio is fine. You're looking for that siren and the source of it because now you have to pay attention just for your own safety. The tool, the part of your brain that snaps you from alpha state to beta state, brain scientists call the reticular activator. It's a physical location in your brain. And the reticular activator is processing the tens of thousands of stimuli that come into our bodies each day, come into our minds each day through our 5 physical senses. It also knows what's going on in our subconscious mind. So in the example we just talked about, where you're looking for a used car, when you saw that Facebook ad, it was your reticular activator that prompted you to jump from an alpha state to a beta state and look at that ad and move forward with it. So, how does all of this apply to marketing? Well, it's integral in the marketing equation. The marketing equation has 4 steps: interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. So the interrupt is like the headline on your ad. Again, going back to the car analogy, the car shopper, it was that headline that said, here are 4 things that used car dealers say to get you to their lot, or whatever that headline was. It interrupts you because your reticular activator knows that's something you're thinking about. The engage step is 1 or at the most 2 sentences that has a promise. It tells the reader that, hey, if this headline caught your attention, and if you continue to read, we're going to give you some valuable information. The educate step is the valuable information. 2, 3, 4 points, whatever it is that you want to convey to that prospective customer. And then the offer is some low impact way for them to take the next step in their buyer's journey. Remember at the very beginning, we talked about one of the purposes of your marketing is to facilitate the buyer taking the next step in the journey. Well, that's what the offer is designed to do. So if you go back to the educational spectrum, those offers from your advertising are designed to help your prospect work through the educational spectrum, designed to put your brand in their minds and make you a preferred vendor. So I gave you a simple analogy about a car dealer. Let me tell you about what happened with one of our clients when we followed the marketing equation. This was a moving company down in Phoenix. It's really the American dream. These were 2 couples that emigrated to the United States from Eastern Europe. And this was back in the late 70s, early 80s that they emigrated. They landed in Phoenix, they got jobs, and they worked for a couple of years, but their goal was to start their own business. They decided they wanted to get into the moving business, and so each of them took jobs with other moving companies. So one of the guys was working in the warehouse, one on the truck, the ladies were in offices for different companies. They spent 1.5 years learning firsthand how the moving business works. They saved their money. They bought their first moving truck. That first year in business, they did about $175,000 in gross sales. So not a lot, but they were starting. It was their first year. We met them not long afterwards. One of the ways that we attract new customers is by doing seminars. We had done a seminar in Phoenix, and they came up to us afterwards and said, hey, we have to have a Yellow Pages ad. Again, this is several years ago, but even today, moving companies use the Yellow Pages. We have to have a Yellow Pages ad created. We're willing to spend the money on a full-page ad, but we have to have something to the Yellow Pages rep in about a week and a half. Can you help us? So we got together with them. We did research. We learned more about their company, and we developed an ad that followed the marketing equation. The interrupt was the headline that said, last year in Phoenix, 3,724 people filed complaints against moving companies with the Better Business Bureau. We knew that from our research to be fact. Big, bold headline that said that. The engage statement was, learn these 15 tricks that moving companies use. And then the educate, we actually had 15 bullet points in real small print, like you see in the obituaries, in that ad. And then the offer was for them to be able to call and have a report sent that had valuable information on how to prepare for a move, best ways to pack. It was basically a guidebook for people who were thinking of moving. The owners asked us to be there with them when they met with the Yellow Pages rep. So we were there, and the rep took one look at the ad and just threw it back to them. This will never work. Nobody's going to read this. It's got too much fine print. What you really need is an ad that has a picture of your moving truck and a slogan. In other words, you need an ad that looks like all of the other ads in the Yellow Pages. They said no and insisted that you ran that ad. A year later, they did just over $1 million. Their revenue in that year after the ad went into effect was $850,000. About 18 months after that, they got an offer from one of the big national moving companies to buy their business, accepted the offer, and generated just over $1 million in net profit after 5 or 6 years in business. At the closing table, the representative from the big national moving company turned to the woman who was the managing partner of our client group and said to her, we had to buy your company to get control of your Yellow Pages ad. You grabbed so much market share that our franchisee in this market was about to go out of business, and we couldn't allow that to happen. We had to buy you to get control of that ad. So she calls me a few days later, and she's telling me about this conversation, and I'm thinking, cool, National Moving Company, they're going to take your name off of the ad, and they're going to put their name on it. Nope, that didn't happen. They threw out the ad that we had developed that had been so successful for our client, and they went back to a traditional ad with a picture of a moving truck and a slogan. Again, they're a big national company. Who am I to judge? But what I hope you see from this example is the power of the marketing equation and using that 4-step process in all of your advertising pieces.